Individualism, a great concept, something that we have embraced wholeheartedly. Individualism means you are you, I am me, and there is nobody else like us. Individualism, on the surface of it, is a great thing and allows us to embrace our differences. This is something that I completely agree with. And generally speaking, I think that we should all go on our own path. I think that being an individual is a great power, a great right, and something that we should embrace a lot more. But at the same time, first of all, individualism as a whole has led to conformism in a different style of way. Individualism is a concept that seems to be sold in direct relation with capitalism, in the sense that to be individualistic, what do you need to have? Well, you need to pick your own clothes and buy your own car and have a house that's yours. And at the end of the day, this is not necessarily individualism. This is just another type of conformism. Yes, your shoes might not be the same as mine, but unless you've made them yourself, you could make a very strong argument for the fact that you were still conformist rather than individualist. Anyway, my point more broadly is this. Individualism as a concept is great, and if we all had to follow a set of very narrow beliefs, we'd probably be a lot more depressed, a lot more worried, etc. But there is an absolute element of value in community, right? Not necessarily conformism, but community. And since the greater uprising of individualism, it seems that community has been on the down. Because if you think about it very simply, think about this. Everyone wants to be doing their own thing. Everyone wants to be moving themselves forward. Quick, we've got a new house to buy. We've got a better career in the city to follow. We've got a degree. We've got this. We've got that. We've got all these things that we need to chase after. But at the same time, humans are not solitary creatures. They seem to be more now, more and more, but we are not designed. Let's rephrase that. Humans are not designed to be solitary creatures. We thrive off of connection. We thrive off of our groups, right? The individualistic world that we live in today seems to have gone to the absolute extreme in the sense that people are unwilling to look out for others at all, right? And I think that coincides with the death of the community as a whole. I don't think it's a good thing for society. People want to conform with only people who share their exact beliefs, which, number one, is going to be a narrow clique of society, let's say, and number two, is probably unhealthy to have a genuine worldview. But individualism as a whole, I can agree with. What we see in today's society is the furthest end of it, right? And in the ultra-capitalistic and consumerist individual world that we're in today, because we need to do everything by ourselves, we're losing our human connections, right? It's all about being strong and independent, when in actuality, we can't get by without our friends. We can't get by without meaningful and loving relationships. We can't get by without a community. We're humans, right? We work in a community. We live in a community. It's called society, right? So to a degree, we need some conformism, right? I need to think about the fact that I want the streets to be safe and clean for everybody else, and everybody else needs to think about the same for me. If you really want to live a complete individualistic life to the extent that a lot of people think that they do, you need to live off grid, right? In your own little bubble. If you want to live in the society that we all know and love, you are still conformist to a degree. But not enough. And what I mean by that is this. In the heat of chasing all of these different concepts, we have lost our community. We've lost our society. We're too busy focused on ourselves. We're focused on ourselves, the betterment of us, and not the betterment of our fellow man or woman. But we'll use man in the umbrella term of human, right? We're not focused on the betterment of our fellow man. We're only focused on what we can get now for ourselves. And this is having an effect on this generation, my generation, I think the greatest, but generally speaking, over the last couple of generations too. It seems like as the desire for individualism grows, fueled by consumerism and capitalism, the people are willing to accept less and less of other people and willing to kind of pay less and less out of not money, but out of their emotional resources, time resources, and we can use money as well, even financial resources, to help in others, right? Because everything that we get, we earn. We're our own person. We're the individual, right? Power to us. And yeah, power to us to an extent, but we're losing our communities. We're losing what makes us great as people. Our friend connections, our social connections, our integrity amongst our fellow people. So few people are focused on helping other people, right? There's people out there who I know, who I'm good friends with, whose beliefs do not conform with mine at all. I love having debates with these people because we can do that. There's people out there who don't live the lifestyle that I live. That's fine, right? This is what makes a comprehensive friend group a good friend group. It's what makes a healthy network. It's what makes a healthy community. The fact that we can all embrace each other, yet having such differences. Isn't it interesting that the individualism that we all so greatly have strived for in today's world, where we are today, has seemingly done nothing but make us more miserable, right? People are more lonely, people are more anxious, more alone, more depressed. They don't have meaningful relationships and connections. They don't see the people that they wish that they did. They don't have the friends that they want. And at that point, I would make a very strong argument for the fact that it's almost not worth it. If we don't have humans around us, the people who we thrive off, our community, our tribe, what is life? There's never been, to our knowledge, a time in human civilization where humans were meant to spend the majority of their time alone, right? Chasing your beliefs is important. Doing what you want is important, but so many people spend so much time alone, and it's because of the death of the community. It's because of the absolute embodiment of the individual. And again, I use the word twice on purpose. When I repeat sayings and phrases, guys, please do not be thinking I'm stuttering or I don't know what I'm saying or I'm forgetful. I repeat phrases twice for the power of them. The word is absolute individualism. Absolute. It's complete individualism and nothing else. No sense of community, no sense of shared values, no sense of shared desires. And I made a point just a bit ago, a video, where I spoke about the fact that less and less people are willing to have democratic and open-minded conversations around points that they don't agree with. This is another part of the problem, I'd say, right? People are not willing to work to a shared goal at all. People go to work to get money for themselves. They don't care about the company, and a lot of the time the capitalist companies that greedy that they shouldn't care. But they live on a street, they don't care for their neighbours, they don't hang out with their neighbours, they don't hang out with their friends very much because they don't have friends, because they don't make connections, because they're all about themselves, right? Life is not all about what we can achieve, obtain. And I think the older I get, I know it sounds like probably quite patronising to a lot of older people, I don't know, because I'm only 21. But the older I get, the more I understand this, right? When I was a teenager, I thought, if I had a supercar and a this and a that, my life would be complete. It would be a lot happier still, but it wouldn't be everything, right? We spend so much time looking for our own path, our own little slice of this world to carve out, that we've forgotten who this means something to and who means something to us. Without our fellow people, we are alone. And if we're alone, we're probably not operating at our maximum, at our best as humans. Because humans are not a species made for being alone. We're made to be around other people. We're made to thrive on the lives and the journeys and the stories with other people. If you're lucky enough, and I say lucky enough, to me it seems like a God-given right almost, but in today's world, it seems to be the case that it's not. If you're lucky enough to have had friends, you will know. You treasure those, even if you don't hang out with that people, even if you fell out in a horrible way, you still treasure those memories deep down, right? You still do. That's life. That's what life's about. When all's said and done, the money does matter. It does help. It does make us, in some ways, feel better, but realistically, deep down, that's part of the issue, right? That's part of the issue. It's part of the problem. Getting money will make us feel better, but not fully. We're so focused on growing our personal journey that we lost all insight and understanding of others around us. We don't care for our fellow people anymore, at all. We don't care for building something as a community. We don't care for having a street where we all like each other and go round to each other's for dinner. We don't care for being friends with our office worker colleagues or colleagues in general. We don't care for being friends with our classmates and our co-workers. Then we wonder why we're all so lonely. Because we're all thinking about the next thing we can do as individuals to build ourselves. But again, you get to that point of, I don't want to say self-actualization because I don't necessarily know if that's the peak, right? Self-actualization is a peak. I don't know if having a load of money or status is a peak. But you get to a point where you're either there or you can see it and you think, you know what, this is nothing, or this would be nothing without friends, family, loved ones, right? And that's what I call a community. So collectivism is perhaps a mindset that traps us to an extent. Just going to work, doing a 9 to 5, whatever. I don't want to do that. So I'm not necessarily for a collectivist mindset. I think everybody should embrace their individual differences. But why do we overlook the fact that there is some beauty in at least having some community spirit? With that, communities are dying a lot more, and people seem to be getting lonelier than they ever have been.